What up, what up, what up? This is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. Got a lot to talk about, guys. Got a lot to talk about, and we're going to get into a lot. But first and foremost, we got to recap this Sunday game, Eagles versus the 49ers. Eagles lost their home opener in the 2021-2022 season to the San Francisco 49ers. 17-11. Did I see this coming? No, I got to be straight up. I got to be honest with you. I did not see this coming whatsoever. There's a lot to take away from this game. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives. There's a lot of what the fucks, honestly. And we're going to talk about all of it. And we're going to talk about injuries as well. The injuries mainly because, the injuries happen to key players at a key time during the game. But we'll get there. But first and foremost, I want to talk about this. The Eagles were in control for pretty much most of this game. The defense really, really impressed me for most of this game. I did not expect the Eagles defense to play as well as they did against this 49ers offense. I really didn't. They pretty much held tight end George Kittle in check. In fact, they didn't pretty much hold tight end George Kittle in check. They did hold tight end George Kittle in check, especially when you compare it to how well George Kittle played against the Philadelphia Eagles last season when the defense was being run by Jim Schwartz. Here's the thing. For most of the first half, it was 3-0. The Philadelphia Eagles had their moments. I'll tell you this. There was a point in time, and I believe it was in the first quarter, where a beautiful pass. I think it was like a 33-yard pass to Jalen Reagor that would have took the Philadelphia Eagles up 10-0. It's a shame. It's a shame that Jalen Reagor was shoved out of bounds by the defensive back, and it's a shame that he stepped out of bounds. But hey, that's something that you got to be aware of. You have to be aware of where you are on the field. It was a beautiful play. And I'll tell you what, it was the first time, after seeing the touchdown, I erupted. I erupted at the restaurant where I was watching the game with my mom. I erupted, and then the play got called back. Because, lo and behold, the cornerback played tight coverage and was able to get Jalen Reagor to step out of bounds. Now, the Eagles still could have scored on that drive. They didn't. And then I want to go to this as well. And we're going to go to the beginning of the second quarter. Now, the 49ers pinned it deep down, maybe at the far 5-yard line, something along those lines. Jalen Reagor or Jalen Hurts tosses it up on the first play from the 5-yard line to Quez Watkins. Quez Watkins catches it 91 yards. Boom. It's absolutely beautiful. Momentum in the favor of the Philadelphia Eagles. And then right away after that play, we get a false start, puts us back 5 yards. We're no longer first and goal. We're first and 10. And then what do we do? Well, we go 4 and out. And this is why this is important. Because the play calling was absolutely atrocious. After that 91-yard pass to Quez Watkins. You're going to call the Philly special on 1st and goal or on 4th and goal. You're going to call the Philly special on 4th and goal. You're going to call the Philly special and you're going to have Greg Ward. Now I get it. Greg Ward is a former college quarterback. I understand that. I get that. I don't disagree with the guy who got the ball in that situation on that type of trick play. I don't disagree with that. But what I do disagree with is Jalen Hurts didn't look ready for that ball. There was only one receiving option on that play. And yes, that's how that play is supposed to go. That's how the Philly special is supposed to go. But Nick Sirianni admitted it to him. Nick Sirianni admitted it himself. That was a bad play call. That was a bad play call. On first down, you try and give it to Miles Sanders. On second down, on first down, you try to throw it. It's incomplete. On second down, you try to give it to Miles Sanders. It's blown up. On third down, you try to run a read option with Jalen, and he gets close. You're on the 1 yard line. And on fourth down, you do that. Why don't you just sneak the fucking ball? Why don't you just sneak the fucking ball? You would have been up 10-0. You would have been up 10-0. And then the momentum would have been a completely different game. There were opportunities for the Philadelphia Eagles to blow this completely wide open in the first half. 17-0, 14-0, what have you. Yeah, am I upset? These are the negatives, obviously, that we're talking about right now. But I'll tell you this. In that first half, the defense played great. The defense played phenomenal. The 49ers had no answer. And that leads us to this. The final 2-minute drive by the 49ers where they took the lead 7-3. Brandon Graham wasn't on the field. Defensive end Brandon Graham was not on the field. Probably our best run stopping defensive end. He was not on the field. Brandon Brooks, our best offensive guard, was not on the field. Pro Bowl talents, both of them. They were not there for that final 2-minute drive. Now, obviously, the 49ers had the ball in that final 2-minute drive, so Brandon Brooks being on the field didn't really matter. But Brandon Graham being on the field did. And what did the 49ers do? Well, they moved through the defense like it was fucking Swiss cheese without Brandon Graham. They moved through they were able to run the ball. They were able to pass the ball. King Miro, welcome to the chat, my man. Sorry about that. King Miro says, we could have won this game, no cap. Absolutely. This is I'm going to put this in perspective. Right? This is a young team. All right. We are in a transition year. This is Jalen Hurts' auditioning year. These wide receivers are young. This coaching staff is young. There's a lot to take away here. There's a lot of positives to take away here. The defense played really well against a head coach who is really well known for his offensive schemes. I mean, we pretty much shut down George Kittle. We weren't going to shut down everybody. And Deebo Samuel had a good day. Deebo Samuel ended up having a good day. But in that first half, we pretty much shut down everybody. And Jimmy Garoppolo still ended up having less than 200 passing yards. But we didn't get to him. We didn't sack Jimmy Garoppolo. Look, that 49ers defense is really good. Fred Warner is a beast at middle linebacker. That defense is suffocating. And there were points. There are points in that game where the Philadelphia Eagles looked like they were going to blow the lid off this team. There were points in that game. And they didn't capitalize. They just didn't capitalize on the opportunities. They just didn't. In the first half, they were moving the ball up and down the field. They just couldn't capitalize when they got in the red zone. But that is the 49ers defense. They can suffocate you. And they did. Now, I have some other things, too, that I want to say. But King Miro says, Brandon Brooks always injured. Now Leonard Dickerson time. Yeah, we're going to get to that, too. And speaking of Leonard Dickerson, I think that there were a couple series where it was a little bit uneven. But once he started to settle down, he played great. I was impressed. I was very impressed with Leonard Dickerson. The defense played really well. I mean, the Philadelphia. I'm very impressed. I'm very impressed with Jonathan Gannon and what he's able to do with these guys. They are young. They're progressing. They're developing. The penalties have to get cleaned up. Derek Barnett in the fourth quarter with that fucking horrible penalty. It drove me absolutely insane because that is what Derek Barnett does. His stupid penalties come at the worst times. It was third down. And then there's the Anthony Harris penalty. They had held the 49ers to a possible field goal, but there was the pass interference on Anthony Harris on third down that gave them a first and goal on their final touchdown, on the 49ers final touchdown. That made it 17 points. Could you imagine? That pass interference was one of the things that changed the game. Toxic Falcons, welcome to the chat, my man. Because I'll say this, we're gonna do this in kind of in order, but we're gonna jump around a little bit, obviously, because that's what we do. You know, when I started to doubt, and it was probably late third quarter, I still had the feeling that Jalen was going to put up like some sort of late game heroics, right? Like I had that feeling that he was going to have a drive that was going to be a late game heroic. And he did. He had it. He had the drive. He did it in less than a minute. Or not even less than a minute. It was 65 seconds. And then they get the 2-point conversion. Getting 11 points. But I'll tell you what, if that Anthony Harris pass interference never happened, we would be looking at the 49ers, kicking a field goal. You'd be looking at the 49ers kicking a field goal. At that point, it would be 13 points. It would be 13. Who knows? Who knows where the momentum could have taken it? Yeah, at that point, it's a 13-11 game, but who knows where the momentum would have gone? And honestly, I'm still questioning that fumble, that Trey Sermon fumble. That was a beautiful hit by Kayvon Wallace, and I got to be honest with you, I thought that he led with his shoulder. I thought he led with his shoulder more than he led with his helmet. It looked like an accurate forced fumble to me. Like a penalty-less forced fumble to me. And that there could have been the momentum changing moment. But I have some things to say about Jalen Hurts as well. I have more things to say about the game plan, the coaching staff. There's a lot that I have to say. I think that Nick Sirianni tried too hard to run on this defensive line. And we know why. Because if you can get the running game going on a defensive line that's usually good against the run, then you're in control. They did it too much in the first half. So much so that Jalen Hurts only having 12 passes in the first half. That's stupid. That's stupid. When your starting cornerbacks are out, the starting quarterbacks for the 49ers were out. Jalen should have been passing the ball more. We saw it. He had the 34-yard pass to Jalen Reagor that got called back, but still, that's because the defender shoved him out of bounds. We saw the 91-yard pass to Quez Watkins, and then we also saw another 30-yard pass to Quez Watkins. Why wasn't Quez Watkins more involved in this game? That's one of the bones that I have to pick. Tox Falcon says, I'm not even mad that we lost. Yeah, Tom Brady destroyed you guys. But again, I got to go back to, they tried too hard early in this game in the first half to open up the running lanes, and it just wasn't. It was working from time and time again, but it didn't. To have Jalen only pass it 12 times in the first half or something like that was, against a beat up secondary, is knowing what Jared Goff did to this secondary the previous week is absolutely atrocious. And I get what I'm saying is kind of negative right now about this team, but I also want to put it into perspective too. There are other things. I am impressed with the way that this defense performed, given how young in their development they are. And not just the defense, but the team in general. Yeah. Do I disagree with some of the offensive game plan? Yes, I do. And this takes me to Jalen Hurts. I do not think that Jalen had his best game. I do not think that Jalen had the best game he could have had. I think that he was targeting Devontae Smith way too much. He threw it to Devontae Smith in double coverage multiple times when he was pressured. And that's not what I want to see. You know what quarterback I want to see out of Jalen Hurts is the quarterback that led us to a scoring drive in 65 seconds in the fourth quarter. I'll tell you this, and I was telling my buddy this, and I was telling my pop this as well. I was like, that final scoring drive by Jalen Hurts in 65 seconds, he was more alert than any point throughout the game that I saw yesterday. At any point throughout the game. And there are other things that I want to get to about the offense as well, but I think that there were times where I saw Dallas Goedert wide open, on one of our very first two offensive drives or something like that. And then he tried to go to Devontae Smith, and it was a little high for Devontae Smith, but that's because the defender was right in front of him. And it should have been a check down to Dallas Goedert, who was on the underneath route. And it would have been a first down. It was like a 3rd and 4. And that led to the field goal. And then you see after the play, you want to go back and rewatch it. You see Dallas Goedert going throwing his hands up. And I think all of us were like, dude, you have your tight end wide open right there. He's in front. Now, Jalen was on the move to his left, and he's a right-handed quarterback. I get it. But it's a less dangerous pass, and it's for a first down. I have some qualms with the way that Jalen played yesterday. I do. But here's the thing. I don't feel any less like he is the guy. And I want to go back to the first and goal, the second and goal, the third and goal, and the fourth and goal after the 91-yard catch from Quez Watkins. I want to go back to this real quick. Those are situations why Jordan Howard is important. This is important. Those are situations why Jordan Howard is important. A tough runner. And I am surprised, and this brings us back to the surprising move that he's not on the active roster. Because they had planned for him to have a package with the starting offense. And he is a different runner. And we have yet to see Boston Scott. We see Kenny Gainwell. We see Miles Sanders. Teams are going to figure out how to defend those guys. But a guy like Jordan Howard, who can just pound you, especially in those situations where it's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, or 3rd and goal, or 4th and goal, and you got one yard to go. There's a ton of shit I have to say. And the officiating was absolutely horrible at times. The officiating was good, but the officiating was horrible at times. The final 3rd and 1 with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, where after that conversion, the 49ers were able to run out the clock. The play clock had hit 0 before they hiked the ball, and nobody fucking called it. Possibly could have been a game changer. At that point, it was 17-11. But I'll tell you this. Again, I go back to, I have faith in this team. And I have faith in the young group of core players that we have. Davion Taylor was back out there on Sunday and made some good plays. Landon Dickerson filled in for Brandon Brooks on the offensive line and was a little unsteady for the first couple series, but came in and played great. But after that, played pretty well. In the first half, Nick Bosa was getting the best of Jordan Mailata. Jordan Mailata didn't give up a sack to Nick Bosa, but Nick Bosa was getting pressure. And that's a good defensive line. I mean, we can't detract from the obvious truths. That's a phenomenal defensive line. It's a phenomenal defense. Fred Warner had a phenomenal game at the middle linebacker position. He really did. That's a good team. 49ers are a good team. And my hat's off to them. But the Eagles should have won this game. And they had every opportunity to. So, they play the Dallas Cowboys, interdivision rival next Monday Night Football. And again, it's going to be a huge test. It's going to be a huge test for the defense. And it's going to be a huge test for this young team to be able to bounce back. They're going to be playing the Cowboys in Dallas at Jerry World. And it's going to be a huge test for this young team and for this young coaching staff to bounce back. So we'll have to see how they do. But with that said, this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. I just wanted to come on here, vet my opinions, let you guys know what I think. But I'll be honest, and I'll say this again. I was incredibly impressed by the defense, with the exception of the second half or the fourth quarter where penalties happened where they didn't need to happen, and they let the 49ers score 10 points in the fourth quarter. That just shouldn't have happened. So, but again, this is DB Talking Now, DB Talking Birds, DB Talking Philadelphia Eagles. You guys have a beautiful evening. Stay safe, stay healthy. One love, and go Birds, baby.